welcome to the Flex with Aaliyah. Today we're talking about core. Even just the word saying it, what do I even mean by core? And that is precisely what I'm going to talk about. What is core? What is the purpose of it? And how you can improve it. So when we talk about core strength, a lot of people think about their abdominals, but it's really more than just that. And having a nice, balanced core is essential, whether you are an athlete or doing stuff in your everyday life. And that's what this particular episode is all about. So thank you for tuning in. And if you're new, welcome. I'm going to kick things off with a quote. Core strength is a relative thing. A gymnast and a heavyweight powerlifter both need incredible core strength to achieve their goals. And yet, they couldn't be more different. And I think this is a beautiful quote because a lot of people think having a strong core is seeing a six-pack, seeing an eight-pack, and that's not what it is. When you see someone's abs, that just means they're lean enough that you can see their muscles. That doesn't mean they have a strong core. You know, there's show muscles and go muscles, and we want go muscles. Sometimes we aren't as lean, you can't see them, but you have a really, really strong core. That's why I like this quote. How we target our core and what we really require from it depends on our goals. But the basis of core is pretty much the same. So what is core? Your core is the central part of your body. It's the group of muscles that attach to your spine. And core, think of it like your support system. Core muscles, so the muscles that are defined by the general umbrella term core, are essential for proper load balance within the spine, pelvis, and kinetic chain. So all the muscles that connect to your spine are considered core. You have the front, which are your stomach muscles. You have your back muscles, and you have your hip muscles. And they're all really integral pieces to having a functioning core. And why is it so important? Well, the core is pretty much the center of your body. And those muscles function to stabilize your trunk while your arms and legs move to perform activities. Pretty important stuff right there. So that's really what your core is and what it does. And if you didn't catch it, your core are the muscles that attach to your spine that stabilize and support you through movement. So when we talk about having a weak core, what does it actually mean? Like just because you can't see my abs doesn't mean I have a weak core. Weak core muscles can lead to fatigue in a particular sport or exercise. Those weak core muscles can also decrease your endurance, but increase the likelihood of injuries. Having that weak core makes people prone to poor posture, low back pain, these chronic issues that could be fixed by strengthening the muscles of our core. And last week I had talked about that in the morning, I get up and I do a core exercise or a core routine in the morning. And that is my habit. And I love doing it, one, because it wakes me up in the morning before I have to teach really early. But it also is a way to get in a little bit extra work that is going to help the muscles that support me with all the activities I do. Whether it's running, whether it's weightlifting, some gymnastics moves, it is essential. And that's why I love to continue doing it, because I notice a difference, not in my physique, but in my functionality. How much back pain am I experiencing? Is it more or less than before? And for me, I've noticed it less. And that's crucial to my well-being. Do you ever have something bother you? Your back hurts. Everybody annoys you when your back hurts because your tolerance level is lower. You're in pain. You're uncomfortable. Even if you have a high pain tolerance, you're still coping with stuff that's happening in your body, and it's something that we don't have to live with. So why should we? When you strengthen your core, what are some of the benefits? Obviously, you'll have a decrease in the back pain. Your posture can improve, improvement in balance and stability, and it strengthens and tones the muscles. Classic exercises you might be familiar with when talking about core are planks, sit-ups, bridges, exercises with a fitness ball. And those are ones that you don't necessarily need a gym for, which is great because not all of us either want to go to a gym, have access to a gym, but we could do them at home and still improve our well-being. Like, I could speak from personal experiences that doing core exercises are not the most exciting and they're not the most fun. But in order to do all the really cool stuff that I do, like hanging on rigs, doing high volume kipping or butterfly pull-ups, running, jumping, falling, because sometimes I definitely fall, having a strong core protects me. Because that's what it really wants to do. It wants me to move smoothly, but it also wants to protect my spine. And although those aren't the prettiest exercises in the bunch, they have value. And when you yourself start valuing those seemingly mundane exercises, all the higher level exercises will come together more fluidly, and you'll probably actually see progress, strength improvements, form improvements. That's why they are key. I almost said core, and then that would have been like a pun. That's why they're core movements. Ha ha ha. Ha! Now, I know not everybody is a competitive athlete, but strong core muscles make it easier to do most physical activities. Let's say you have a dog, walking the dog, and it's leading, you have it on a leash, and you're leading with one arm. That creates slight rotation in your trunk, and you have to engage. And maybe a squirrel runs out, and your dog starts chasing you, and it pulls you, and you have to brace. That is a prime example of why having a nice strong core is important for a non-athletic exercise. Let's say you have a kid, picking them up from the ground and holding them on your hip, as many people do. Your hip muscles and your stomach muscles are going to support you. And if you have a weak core, it's going to do some damage compared to if you had done some simple exercises to strengthen them. Perhaps you're moving and you got to take all these boxes, fill them up, and then carry them into a moving van and then bring them into your new house. That has an impact on you. Those are some very applicable examples that don't even relate to exercise. That's why it's so important to work on strengthening your core. So what are some movements you can do that where you don't need a gym? Well, plank is where you're in a push-up position, the top of a push-up position. You can be on your palms or your elbows, and maybe that's too advanced. You could do it on your knees, or you put your hands on an elevated surface. You don't need to hold for very long, especially as you're starting, okay? Maybe you do 3 sets of 20 seconds with a minute rest in between. Glute bridges. You're laying on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and you're squeezing your butt, raising your hips up, so you can draw a straight line between your shoulders, your hips, and your knees, making sure that you're not arching your back, because then it becomes an ineffective exercise. You could do a hold, or you could do repetitions in that particular exercise. So another movement is a side plank. Very similar to a plank where you're just holding a position. This one is on your side, that you can make it easier or harder depending on your level. And you want to make sure you do both sides. Start out with a small time frame because it is hard, especially when you're first starting. And if you hold, you're like, yes, I can hold this, but you're doing it with poor form, It's going to do more bad than good, and we want to do good. So those are a couple basic ones. And you might have heard of them before, so perhaps add them back in. One that I really like, that I notice when I have back pain or if my back is really tight, are pelvic tilts. And you can do them laying down or standing. And all it is rotating your pelvis, which actually will strengthen and stretch the lower back muscles. Okay, and it's almost like tucking your pelvis. It's a very small range of motion, especially if you have a tight back. That is one, from my experience from working with many people who've had back pain, I give them this exercise. Holds, repetitions, and it works to strengthen and loosen the back. Beautiful exercise. Now, I know some of you guys might not be able to picture what these exercises are. The good thing for you is I have a YouTube channel. You can check out my YouTube channel. I had these examples of these exercises on my channel. Or you could just Google it and find somebody else who's executing these classic core movements. So I will reiterate, why is having a strong core important? Because a well-functioning core will protect your spine, your knees, your hips, your ankles, and it creates fluid and efficient movement. It helps position your body to transfer power between the different areas to produce efficient motion. So stabilizing your midsection while you're reaching to a top shelf or bending down to tie your shoe. Some simple movements like that. And we don't want to get hurt when we sneeze. We've all been there. We sneeze and we grab our back because we're in pain with trying to hold everything in so we don't throw out our back from sneezing. Start doing some basic core exercises and you will see that improve. And that goes back to my quote that core strength is a relative thing. Whether you're competing in a sport, doing high-intense leisure activities, or everyday tasks. So that's why I think this quote is so great. Core strength is a relative thing. A gymnast and a heavyweight powerlifter both need incredible core strength to achieve their goals. And yet they couldn't be more different. Insert your name there. A gymnast and Martha both need incredible core strength. Because whatever your job is, even if it's just standing or sitting, maybe it's a little bit more active job. You work in a preschool, you work stocking shelves. We want to have a strong core to support our daily activities that we have to do and our leisure activities. So start incorporating a couple core exercises. Doesn't need to be every day. Don't go all out and then lose steam. Do it 2 or 3 days a week and see the progress. Not a physique change, but do a body check. Are you feeling less pain somewhere? Do you feel stronger when you go play mini golf now or when you go to Top Golf with your friends? That is how you can do that assessment. And at some point, you'll start to realize, oh man, I haven't thought about my back pain in a while. That's a telltale sign that things have improved. So thank you for tuning into this week's episode of The Flex with Aaliyah. Like, subscribe, share, comment. I appreciate it. And if you need help with core exercise, check out my YouTube channel. I got a whole bunch of exercises on there. And then if you need a little bit more direction, I am a trainer and I do online personal training and in-person training. So if you need help, don't hesitate to ask. Catch you later, guys.